Good afternoon, I'm Josh Duncan, and these are some of the top headlines out of the KelownaNow newsroom today. A West Kelowna Residents Association is ramping up their call for the city to utilize solar power and lower the fees for installing solar panels. The Glen Rosa Residents Association wants to see the city of West Kelowna add a referendum question during the 2026 municipal election, which would ask residents if they support the installation of net metering solar power on all publicly owned facilities in town. Association President Dan Goy says residents unanimously endorsed the proposed question and claimed that solar panels on all city-owned facilities would save taxpayers in excess of $1 million each year. According to Goy, Kelowna, Vernon, and Summerland don't enforce building permit fees to install solar panels like West Kelowna does, and he pointed to a recent solar project in Coldstream that was made possible with BC Hydro incentives. The Glen Rosa Residents Association says a referendum vote alongside next fall's municipal election is cost-effective and should increase voter turnout for the referendum. The matter has now been forwarded to West Kelowna City Council for consideration. 4 members of Central Okanagan Search and Rescue traveled to the Kootenays on Thursday to help in the search for a missing hiker. Kaslo Search and Rescue put out the call for ground searchers and a canine team Monday to support search efforts in the Jumbo Pass area at the north end of Kootenay Lake. Searchers are scouring steep mountainous terrain, an area they're forced to access by helicopters. COSAR's canine team was ready to go, but searchers reevaluated their needs earlier this week, and instead it was a pair of drone team members and a pair of rescue techs who traveled east from Kelowna to help out in the search. Air Rescue One Helicopter Winch Society provided a flight crew, winch, and rescue helicopter for the trip and search. COSAR did not say whether the missing hiker was found on Thursday. It's unclear at this time if the search is still going on. A foundation is being created in memory of the 12-year-old boy who was struck and killed by a vehicle on Vancouver Island earlier this week. Xavier Rasul Yankovic has been identified as the young boy who was fatally hit by a Honda Civic while rollerblading with his family Monday night. Police say speed was a factor in the crash, and the car is being driven by a 17-year-old driver. Tributes pouring in for young Xavier, who's being remembered as a wise, wonderful soul who lit the lights of his family, friends, and extended community. All of those people grieving now an enormous loss. He was a hockey player for Carey Park Minor Hockey Association, the Islanders as they're called. He's been recognized also as always an Islander. The Minor Hockey Association does say the community has suffered a huge loss and encourage people to lean on each other to get through this while supporting the boy's family as well. A GoFundMe to jumpstart the foundation in his name has raised over $35,000 so far. It will support a series of initiatives to honor Xavier's spirit of positive community impact. You can find a little more on that story and a link to the GoFundMe if you want to donate on KelownaNow.com. The StatsCan numbers are in, and Canada's real gross domestic product declined by 0.4% from April to June compared to January to March this year. The Q2 decline comes after the economy grew 0.5% in Q1. StatsCan says the contraction came amid a significant decline in exports to the United States. Canada's largest bank, RBC, said the GDP figures today were weaker than expected, but says its base case forecast still assumes GDP growth will be positive, albeit slow, in the second half of 2025. RBC added that Canada's relatively favorable tariff position compared with other U.S. trade partners should help limit downside risks and reduce the likelihood of a slide into recessionary territory. Pollster David Coletto, who runs Abacus Data, less optimistic. He says now the pain will begin. And wrapping up in sports, 3 Canadian tennis players still left in contention at the U.S. Open, but they are in for a real tough test over the next 24 hours. Leylah Fernandez, the lone Canadian woman left in the draw, she'll go up against top-seeded Aryna Sabalenka tonight in a third-round matchup scheduled to begin at 4 p.m. Fernandez actually defeated Sabalenka in the U.S. Open 4 years ago. That was a different time, though. The Belarusian, now the tournament's defending champion and arguably the top women's tennis player in the world. Over to the men's side, both Felix Auger-Aliassime and Denis Shapovalov will play their third-round matchups tomorrow. And like Fernandez, they are taking on top-ranked opponents. Shapovalov also playing the number 1 seed on the men's side. That is Yannick Sinner. Ogier Aliassime will go up against third-seeded Alex Zverev. A lot of names here. All U.S. Open action is broadcast on TSN, so that's how you can tune in if you want to see these Canadians in action tonight and tomorrow. All right, wrapping up, quick look at the forecast. Cloudy and already, well, mainly cloudy out there, already at our high of 30 degrees right now. There is a 60% chance of showers over the next few hours, and it looks like there's already been a little bit of rain falling up in the hills. We'll see if that makes its way into town. Looking ahead to the rest of the long weekend, it does look better. It looks like we're back to plenty of sunshine throughout the long weekend, a high of 31 on Saturday and Sunday, then up to 33 on Monday, 35 on Tuesday, by the way, as we head back to work. Can't really ask for anything better than that on the final long weekend of the summer. Should be a good one. That is it for me today and this week, but you can read up on all these stories, as always, at KelownaNow.com. Have a fantastic Labor Day long weekend, friends. Soak in the heat. Enjoy the sunshine. I'll be back here Tuesday afternoon for a look at some more Kelowna Now headlines. We will see you then.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.